how does Pixar create so much empathy in their stories?
It's a lot of what we talked about, sort of giving that very, very deep need. I think often you really want to know why they need it, like why is it so important to them. Wally is really my favorite example of this because we have nothing in common with them.
He's
And
a
like you said,
robot.
yeah, and the first 30 minutes, as you also said, are silent. There's no dialogue, and they had to make you love this guy. And it's really, I talk about the three reasons we like both people and characters. Like there's a first layer that's very superficial, where maybe someone's very attractive or very confident, or you think about high school, right? There was the popular kids that you didn't know, but you like them because they had these like external discernible traits. And that can work in a movie, but it only gets you so far, and it dissipates very quickly. Movie stars help. Then there's a second layer, which is a little more intimate, a little more personal. Maybe you know their hobbies, or maybe they have this neat little point of view, or there's something exciting about them. The prologue of The Incredibles does a great job with this, where you see sort of, right?
Yeah.
You see the two of them in their heyday, they're flirting, they're stopping crime, and you're like, oh, these are cool people. I'd enjoy hanging out with them, but you know them a little more now. But the real important layer, and the one that you have to generate these sort of to make people cry is what happens when you think about how you met your best friend, right?
Right.
How you get to know those idiosyncrasies about them that don't make sense, but you know them because you're close to them. How you understand what they want and why they want it and how it comes from. And maybe even most importantly, I think maybe the main difference between a friend or a character that we love and everyone else is we can forgive their flaws. You need to get that level of understanding, of clarity of a person, so that you can look at their flaws in a way that doesn't stop you from loving them, and in a way where you're in their corner to sort of defeat them. So when you see Wall-E, you don't see a robot that's cleaning the earth. You see someone who's devoted to their job, who loves their job, who takes pride in it. You see someone deeply curious because he collects all those things every day and he does them around. You see someone who has a very good friend, a loyal friend he takes care of, right? He runs over him and then he's worried and then he makes sure he's okay. And you see that deep yearning for love. And when you talk about him that way, that's every one of us.
Oh,
That's,
absolutely.
If I were left alone in a dystopic wasteland, that's the ideal life I could want.
Pretty much. I mean, I remember when he got kissed by Eve in space, and he just like freezes and just like floats in the air away. It was like it's remarkable. I mean, going through Incredibles, I'd argue, and I think a lot of people say this, but it's arguably one of the best superhero movies ever written and ever produced. Up there with Dark Knight, Deadpool, and Logan. It's just so like Brad Bird understood the plight of the superhero, and they were brand new superheroes we'd never heard of. And when you see Mr. Incredible in a cubicle,
that's just that image.
That image, this giant, monstrous dude sitting in this little cubicle, and then he's got this little boss who's just the biggest pain in the ass. How more perfect of an analogy for a lot of people's lives? Because I've had a boss, we've all had bosses we disliked, and we all were like, I'm really a superhero. Why am I in this cubicle?
That's such a great way of putting it. You're right. And I think, and it comes back to something they try to find in all of their ideas. They're like, this character is X. How can we make them the most uncomfortable? How can we torture them, if you want to call it? Like, if you're writing about a superhero, it's natural to have them fighting crime. That's their comfort zone, ironically.
Put them in a cubicle.
Yeah, put them in a cubicle. That's a tension that drives a character, right? That drives a movie. That has to be fixed and addressed before the movie is over.